Alright, today we're going to look at how to make a universal Windows 7 DVD. Now, why would you want to do this? Well, if you say get a netbook and you want to wipe the hard drive because you got it used, but you don't want all the factory bloatware, well, you can't buy Windows 7 starter DVDs. You got to make a universal DVD or take the recovery partition the manufacturer gives you. So doing it this way, by making universal DVD, of course, will allow you to bypass all the bloatware. However, I should mention this now. If you take this route to do a Windows 7 netbook recovery, you will lose all your files. Obviously, you'll lose the factory drivers that are included to make the setup work correctly, so you'll need to download those before you can wipe the netbook. Or if you have them on the netbook itself, put them on a flash drive first or something. And you'll lose the factory recovery partition, so if, say, your netbook goes down as a crypto locker or something, and you have to wipe the netbook quickly and start over because all your files are encrypted and you have nothing to lose, well, you're going to have to get your DVD in an external DVD drive or a flash drive, but we'll discuss this later on how you can do it. Now, I will note that anything done from this side is merely grabbing files. You will not be able to make this DVD over here. You're going to need access to a PC. So we're going to be switching to a different computer later in the tutorial. Right now, this is just getting files over to a different computer. So, what are you going to need to do this? Well, you're going to need two files. Alright, your first thing you want to do is you want to make a folder called Win7 Universal 32-bit, or whatever name you want. I chose this name because it's easy for me to remember. You're going to need a copy of the image for your Windows 7 you want to make. Well, let me make this clear. The version you pick isn't important. We're going to be stripping this away. The bit version you pick is important in this case. So if you have a 32-bit only computer or a 32-bit license, you're going to need to pick a 32-bit copy of the operating system. Or if you have a 64-bit, you're going to need to pick that. 64-bit images do not work on 32-bit machines. And as far as I'm concerned, you can't use a 32-bit license on a 64-bit disk. Correct me if I'm wrong on this, but to the best of my knowledge, you simply can't. And you're going to need something called EICFG removal utility, which can be found here. I'll put a link in the description of this. Yeah, this is what you're going to need to remove this configuration file. Another tangible benefit of doing this is you can use any key you want with that disk. It's not tied to an OEM key or a retail key or a bulk license anymore. You're free to use whatever key you want. So that's also another benefit of doing this. So we're going to put this in the link to the description. And I'm not going to reveal where I got this image for Windows 7. I just don't want to get in legal trouble. So you're on your own finding that image, but it shouldn't be too hard. You could probably Google it, and you could probably find the source where I got this. Not saying you will, but if you need to, or you don't have it, just Google it and you'll find the image. Okay, and now we discussed what you're going to need. I'm going to have to plug in a device to store the image, the file on. If you have a flash drive, that's great, but if you don't, you're going to need to use a SD card or something, providing your SD card wants to mount and is big enough. Clearly this one doesn't want to mount. Remember, this card will have to accommodate anywhere from 2.56 gigs or more. I would recommend at least 16 gigs of storage. So you go to put this in a card reader or a flash drive, if you have that, which in that case you get jammed in your card reader or your USB port. Wait for it to show up on the side. Great, so we're going to copy this whole folder to your storage device you're dumping this to. Now let this copy. This may take a while. So we'll sit back, get some popcorn, and come back when it's done. After this is done, we're going to go to my PC to finish this off. Alright, so just sit back while it does this, and then we'll be in our merry way. Alright, as you see, we're over on the Windows 7 side of this thing. And right now I'm going into my Windows Explorer, and I'm going to go to my SD card. And then we go to my Win7 Universal 32-bit folder I made earlier on the Mac. And we're going to run the EICFG removal utility folder that contains all the files. Yeah, and then run the executable for EICFG removal, and then it will default to your documents folder. Switch to your SD card if you did it on another machine that's not a Windows machine, or if you did it on a Windows machine from the get-go, switch to your downloads folder if that's your default folder. The documents folder's where it likes to default to, but 9 times out of 10 they don't change it. It's in the downloads folder, and both of the files will be there. You're going to want to go find the file and then open it through the program. It will remove the ICFU file. Now, I did intend to test this over on the PC side of things with VMware Player, but it didn't work out so hot. And as you see here, I'm copying it to my desktop for safekeeping, just in case something goes wrong. I need to go back and burn it really quick on a new disk, so I have some safety if I ever need to make this disk again. I don't have to redo this procedure. Okay, so let's see if this works. Next, install now. Setup is starting. Another use I forgot to mention is, once again, going back to netbooks. Say if you get a netbook for cheap, right? And you want to install Linux because you know it's a better operating system for smaller machines, and you don't want the limitations that Windows 7 Starter comes with. This would be a great way to fix that problem. Oh, there we go. As you can see, it worked. So, yeah, there we go. There's how I make a universal disk. Now, the next part, we're going to be burning it, but I got to get some media first, so be right back. Alright, so we're going to make the media now. Let me warn you how I'm going to do it now. I'm going to be using a DVD-R. This is a one-shot deal, so if this screws up, kiss your media goodbye, and you're going to get another disc. So have at least 2 ready should the machine lock up or something happen to it. That way you have fallback protection. Okay, so this is how you do it. Is you gotta put a DVD in your DVD drive, obviously. Let that load up. While it does its stuff. I actually remember where it was last time when the machine locked up and I had to waste a disk. So I'm gonna let this burn. If you click cancel, it will produce the same effect as if the machine locks up. Okay, one last tip. Let it verify the media. This will tell you if there's any potential problems. If you find any problems, even potential ones, throw it out and burn another one. Because this media will be mission critical if your machine fails.